Hi, I'm Rachel Stravelli, and I'm delighted. I took these massive pieces of wood and chopped them into pieces. And I don't know if you can see my muscles very well, but I'm not even that strong in terms of upper body strength. Um, and so it was pretty cool. And partly it's because I believed in my own potential, and partly because I used the right tools. But before I get into that, I want to encourage you to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to receive more inspiring and uplifting words, images, inspiration, and messages for your life. I am Rachel Stravelli, and I'm an inner nature teacher. I help people to learn about and reconnect to the own nature inside of them. And I do this teaching about the outer nature and all the best tools of science and spirituality that I am aware. So I all throughout my career as a teacher and a public school teacher, and when I worked at a research university and a tutor and environmental educator, and now as an online educator. And yet, I know that a lot of us have experiences in our own lives, in schools, in work, which really can diminish our ability to believe in ourselves and to recognize the own inherent greatness that we have. So today's video, I encourage you to be open to these ideas and to play around with and see what you can do with them. So the first thing I want to say is if you do not believe in yourself, that's okay. You are welcome to start today. And the thing that I think is so cool is that if you don't currently believe, I do think the belief is so important. But if you're just sitting there thinking, I don't know how I can believe in myself, nobody believed in me, or I'm too young, or I'm too old, or look at all these failures I've had, or I've tried to do so many things and it just never works because blah, blah, blah. I get it. I'm sure I could go down that path too of talking about all the things that don't work and how I can't do it or how I'm late to things when I want to be on time or all the things I could think about to complain about myself. But that and working on it, it probably doesn't have to take years, but I've slowly been working on it over the years, and I feel that it's had an incredible effect on my life. And and so I want you to play around with or pretend, what if I did believe in myself? What if I took the next week or the next month just to pause from the way that I was doing things and to try a new way of looking at it? Because here's the funny thing. When we're born, we are absorbing information and body language and all these messages about how to be in the world. And so from ages 0 to 7, we are in a brainwave state called theta that very much resembles the state we're in when we're under hypnosis. And so when you are a child, you're pretty much absorbing the rules of the world, the ways of the world. And that's like the hardware or the programming in your mind. From then forth, you can learn new things. But as you know, learning a language, for example, when we were little, we didn't have to work so hard to pick it up. It just came naturally. But over time, like if I'm trying to learn Spanish, it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take repetition. We can get things into our programming through repetition, but the early stages of life are when it comes in really easily. And then the result of that is this part of our brains called the reticular activating system serves as a filter because we're getting so much information all of the time, so much stimulus, temperature, sounds, lighting. If I'm wearing this shirt, I'm getting stimulus about the things I'm in contact with, the couch that I'm sitting on. As you're going through YouTube, there's things on the side or above or below, all kinds of visual stimuli coming at us. And at a certain point, our brain has to decide what we're going to filter and what we're going to recognize as important. And the beliefs and the programming that you take in as a young child, that is what informs your brain, your reticular activating system, as to what to pay attention to as significant and what to disregard as insignificant and filter out. Now, here's where that comes into play for us. So, if I have a belief that I can't chop a huge piece of wood, for example, then I'm not going to do it because I think, well, I'm not physically able to get an axe and chop it up. I could use a chainsaw, but I got to learn how to use a chainsaw. And there's a little bit of discomfort for me learning how to do that. And or I could hire somebody we have this wood at the end of our driveway. And this is that real problem I've been dealing with. So then the most recent solution was, oh, we'll just hire somebody to get it hauled off. Well, these pieces of wood, I don't know what they weigh. There's 4 huge trunk pieces that are more than the circumference of my hand. So probably 3 feet in diameter. I don't know what that would be in circumference. Pretty big circumference, 5 feet maybe. And they're maybe up to one of them is longer than 24 inches, but a lot of them are 24 inches thick, so incredibly heavy. And so for the longest time, I just kept on thinking, there's nothing we can do. Like, my husband and I physically can't move these. And then I was looking for different options. I wasn't really using the creative part of my brain to figure out how to deal with it because I was just like one track minded. I was looking at things in a certain way and thinking, if we can't do it physically, or if we feel like we don't have the time, then we need to hire someone to do it. And when I looked into doing that, it was going to be incredibly expensive. And that made me uncomfortable because I thought, oh, here's this wood. In a conversation with my dad recently, even though he knows that wood is there, we just had a new conversation about it, and I was expressing my frustration. So he starts talking to me about, if we get a wedge, a splitting wedge, I should insert some pictures into this later so you know what I'm talking about, and use that to help split the wood. And all of a sudden, my brain is just firing with, my mind is like, oh my gosh, all this excitement, all these ideas. 1, I have a splitting wedge. 2, I know how to use it because I also have a sledgehammer. And 3, I'm thinking about way back elementary school science, I think, 3rd grade, maybe even 2nd, when we learned about the 5 or 6 simple machines. I don't remember how many. Incline plane, screw, wedge. I feel like there's 2 more. Maybe you'll remember and tell me. Or maybe I'll look them up and add them in. So here's this tool, so simple. So I got out there the other night and using the wedge, you pretty much always need 2 because it can get stuck in there. Using the wedge and then an axe as a second wedge and a sledgehammer, I broke up a piece of wood this thick, like I said, 5 feet around or something. And my husband came out and he was just mouth agape, kind of freaking out. How on earth did you do this? And here I'm just feeling like the power in me, and not because I'm like, "Ooh, I am so strong," because I didn't break it apart with strength. That is what the coolest part was, or one of the coolest parts. Like, all I did was change the way I looked at the situation. I got some new information. I was receptive to it, also seeking out information because I was thinking, what I'm doing is not getting me where I want to go. So I need to seek out new information. I need to be open to that information, and I need to take some action and apply it and see what happens. And I already knew, I was like, if this doesn't work, then fine. But it did work. And we have not yet chopped up all of the pieces. But in the space of the last 3 days, these wood pieces that have been sitting there for 2 years are half of them are now broken up into pieces. There's one piece that I don't actually yet know how we're going to do it. I guess I need more openness and creativity in solving of problems. But the other pieces, they're broken up into manageable pieces. Like a piece, yeah, okay, it's still pretty big and heavy, but it's doable. And the importance that I want to leave you with is that I couldn't have done this without having the tools and the open mindedness, and then taking the action and seeing what's happening and then changing from that. And I think a lot of us, it's possible that things in life that have come up for us have given us a sense of failure. I mean, here the wood has been sitting there, like I said, for over 2 years, and nothing was happening. Like we had rented a splitter a while ago, but then it was just exhausting, and these pieces were big and it's a lot of work, and we've got two small children. And so every day when we come and go, at least for my husband, it's like, oh, here's this thing that we didn't deal with that's just sitting there. And we are getting ready to move. And so I knew we had to deal with this soon. And I feel so inspired by how this log and splitting things has just opened up my mind even more to thinking about what are the ways in our lives, my life, your, in which we really just need a little bit of openness. We need to, we would benefit from asking someone else for help or insight or a new way of looking at something. Maybe we just need a different tool. Sometimes, like in my case, it was a tool I already had. Like it was literally 10 feet, maybe 15 from this stump for the last 2 years. It was in the shed right near the stump. So I didn't even have to go buy anything. Like the whole solution was here. I just didn't put the whole picture together for how I could do it. And it could be that there's something in your life that you have a desire for. And so this is the full circle I'm going to come around to. I believe, and I'm not the first person to say this, this might even be spiritual truth or something like that. I believe that if you have a desire or a wish and a dream in your heart, and it's something that is genuine and a burning love or desire that you have, not necessarily desire for one person per se, but a dream for something. I think that dream is an example that that is a potential that you could have. And I think that by giving yourself the opportunity to go after that, you have a chance to fulfill that. Now, the catch is, when you start this journey, where it will end, how long you'll have to try. I'm working on this book that I started over 2 years ago. It might be three now. Yeah, it is three, because my daughter was in, as she calls it, her 2-year-old preschool, and she's 5 now. I have this book I started. I know that I'm going to finish it. I know that I'm going to get it sent off or connected with an agent or something. I know that it's not just going to stay on my computer and in my head all this time. But I'm not there yet. And there was a time before I started it that I was held back by the massiveness of the goal. And also, as any artist, writer, musician, person who has a creative passion project can tell you, There's a lot of people out there telling you that you can't be successful, that you won't be successful. If you look around, logically, your mind might even tell you, what are the chances of me having a bestseller or having a success or having more than 5 people read this book? And so I know that that's a part of what this is all going into it. But at the same point in time, I know that if I have a burning desire in me to work on something, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to believe it. I'm going to do it because that desire has a chance. I think it's in my life for a reason. And sometimes the initial first steps result in failure. But failure could just be called information or experience. And when we learn from that, and then we move forward and we grow and we do more. And so I really want to encourage you to cultivate a few things. One, openness to hearing new information or seeing new connections, seeing new things that will allow you to move forward on this thing that you want to move forward on. I want you to believe in yourself, and if you can't believe, like if you can't make that step, then just pretend. Tell yourself for a week, I'm going to see what it feels like to think that I can do this. And every seed that I've ever planted in my garden had the knowledge inside of it for how to grow and the desire to come to fruition. Similarly, I feel that way about our human desires. They are like the seeds in our hearts, and we can nurture them and cultivate them so that they can grow. Now, when I plant in my garden, I don't know what the weather's going to be. I don't know what the seasons are going to be. I still try, I still plant. And some of it is success and some of it's failure and some of it I learn from and some of it I don't because there's a lot to take in. There's a lot of information. But doing this experience, taking an active role in your life, trying new things, being open to what happens if I do work on this thing that I'm really excited about. All of that is really fun and I think is what makes us come alive. All right. I have shared a lot today. I would love to hear your thoughts or what you're working on. Feel free to comment below. And also, you can reach out to me. I have a free guide on my website, and it's all about reconnecting to energy and getting in touch with having enough energy to work on your passions and your potential. I'm actually in the flux of working on it right now. So I'll come back and edit this video when I know exactly what the title of that is. But you can definitely, I'll put the link below. So if you want to go ahead and sign up for that, and I would love to connect with you more. So thank you for watching and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll talk soon. Bye.